Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another week of Living Lives. People always ask me what's in my diffuser today, and today I'm using the oil Clary Sage. And the reason I picked Clary Sage is because it dispels darkness and illusion, helping individuals to see their limiting belief systems. Clary Sage encourages individuals to remain open to new ideas and new perspectives. Clary Sage teaches the spirit how to use its divinely given gifts and is especially helpful in clarifying spiritual vision. It assists in developing the gift of discernment and invites individuals to expand their vision and accept the reality of the spiritual world. And I think as we go into 2022, it's good to really be open to what we can bring to the world. So I thought that was a good oil to use today. Now, my guest today is MEGOS. She's a 20-something modern-day Renaissance woman. She's a writer, a founder of a self-care collective for Black and Brown women, an artistic activist, and a creative. When she's not freelancing, she's working 9 to 5 at a nonprofit running the internship department, helping young adults achieve their high school diploma and career goals. But when she is freelancing, there's nothing that MEGOS loves more than putting her mark on the world. So welcome, MEGOS.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Wayne. I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. I love your smile.
Thank you.
So tell us how you got to where you are today.
Okay. I guess it started off with my love for writing at 8. Okay. I've always had a love for writing and acting. And in writing, acting, and reading, because I think that's the middle ground between those two things. I started to realize that with just the use of a pen or the use of my mind, I can become a different version of myself or somebody completely different that lives outside of me. And I like that. I loved the idea of living vicariously through other characters, through seeing life through a different lens. And it helped me to develop who I wanted to be when I became an adult. I went to school for...
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Still trying to figure that out. I think that...
And I think I've got a few more years on you.
I don't think that ever stops until you transition into your spiritual self. But I think the human experience is constantly every day, like figuring out who you are as a person, but also realizing that was me yesterday. That's not so much me today. And I guess when I got out of college, I realized that everything that had to do with peacefulness, mindfulness, self-care, unwinding, and just taking a moment for myself became the biggest interest that I had. And I wanted to figure out how I can make money off of it. So we started working with schools to teach students how to unwind and be their best selves and really focus on their self-care. But I realized that working at a school took a lot. So I started working at different programs, and it just ended in a space where I realized that I wanted to start something of my own. So in 2018, I started a collective called Cafe Unwind, and it was just like a little sister circle that I had for like 20 women, and we just got a moment to just talk about things that bothered us, from gentrification to losing resources within our jobs, to mental health, to dealing with depression, to trying to unlock our inner child while being an adult. And we realized these were like heavy conversations and things that we didn't even get to ever discuss, even with family and friends. Yeah. And I'm like, we need more safe spaces like this. So I started creating these really cool, unorthodox kind of spaces for events. So I had like a self-care spa where I invited like a bunch of girls to come out, and I had like a bartender who was, she actually created body butters, but she pretended to be a bartender that night. And she had a bar with a bunch of body butters, and she got to add essential oils to each butter based on, what those customers needed. Like,
you're just talking my language, essential oils.
To unwind, to maybe be more prone to waking up earlier in the morning, maybe to break addictions, she added things like crystals and just lots of good intention and energy to that bar. And it was just like, how about every month I have events where I bring people on, let them do things that are fun that they're used to doing, but incorporate self-care into it somehow. And that's what I've been doing since 2018. And that's pretty much how I got started.
That's exciting. I love all sorts of different types of events, like that wellness, that spa bar that you did. I have a class that I developed with a local artist here that's creating intention with essential oils and paint.
Ooh.
So we actually do in the class, you actually paint a 12 by 12 painting with acrylic, but you also incorporate essential oils in that with intentions that we do through an essential oil card deck, which is kind of cool. So the universe helps you pick the intentions, and the artist friend actually designed all the paintings in the card deck. And then we also incorporate tissue paper in it. So it's a multi-faceted, and the painting actually smells like the essential oils for a little bit because they're actually incorporated in the paint. So it's kind of a fun, it's a fun way to incorporate intention with everything else you're going on. So I love to hear these other ideas about the different things that you're doing. So if you ever want me to come down and do that, I'd be happy to, but I don't quite fit your demographic for your group because I'm not quite a Black or brown woman. But
well, luckily we open our doors to all forms and all types of practitioners, all forms of resources, all forms of just spaces that we can go to achieve help. We have a bunch of people in the collective who have therapists that are not Black, who have resources that are not led by Black people, but they are still very beneficial, super resourceful, and they help the people within our collective. So definitely it would be a great opportunity to collaborate.
So let's chat afterwards. So now you also work at a nonprofit. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So I work at a nonprofit that is workforce and education based. The great thing about New York City is that there are so many opportunities to do so many different things. Unfortunately, there are times when people think that school is not for them and they end up dropping out of school. So my nonprofit, it's not mine, but the nonprofit that I work for, pretty much it's like a second education kind of process where it's like if you are an adult between the ages of 18 to 24 and you would like to get your high school diploma because maybe you slacked off or it wasn't something that you could have done in your younger teen years, we help you get that again. And at the end of the program, we put you into internships and into the workforce.
Oh, cool.
The department that I run is an internship department where my company will literally pay our students and our interns to work for different companies. So I put them in spaces that they're interested in working with after the program. This is beneficial for students who really do not see college in their future, or students who do see college because we have a college department within our program. And it just helps them to get their feet wet and realize that there are many options, that there are always second chances. And I really love this business because now that I'm the internship manager, I just really get a chance to connect with smaller businesses and say, hey, would you like one of our students to work for you? We'll pay the students through our grants. It's just that we're looking for people who can be strong supervisors, who have businesses within the New York City area and who are willing to teach our students those hard and soft skills that they need when they are entering the workforce as young professionals.
That's a fantastic, that whole model is great. I love the fact, I'm my brand is Adventures and Connections. So anything to connect is really, important to me because, and it also, whether you're connecting to other people, to a job, to yourself, which this also does, it helps those kids, I'm sure, connect to themselves and realize that there's value there.
Absolutely.
That they can give to the world, and they're not people that are just, going to be marginalized, but can actually move forward and be a contributing member of society and gain confidence in themselves and their world from that.
Absolutely. But also realizing that life doesn't have to be on a linear path that everyone else is taking.
True.
We're often told like grade school, then high school, then college, then, you know, find your career, then get the spouse, then have the kids. But sometimes life happens the opposite way, or
Yep.
sometimes some of those legs of the race are taken out. And I feel like a program like this allows everybody to see life in their own individual way and also
Hmm.
work at their pace. And that's a big part of self-care, and a big part of like just really tapping into who you are as a person when you're dealing with your self-care, because it's like sometimes you have to go at your own pace. You cannot
Yes.
go at the same pace that the rest of the world is going. Like it's just very unrealistic. So I love working in spaces and being a part of spaces where it helps people work at their own pace.
And that really is, you know, you're right. People, you know, society molds us, points us to the path that most people will, you know, benefit from. And I look at it as sometimes even the most people aren't getting benefits from it,
Exactly.
because they're not teaching some of the life skills that we need, self-care being one of them.
Exactly.
And even just networking and that kind of skill is never taught in a business school, which, if you're a business person, you need to be able to network, you know.
Exactly.
But self-care in particular is never taught, or I've never seen it taught in, you know, regular traditional school systems.
Educational
And
programming.
it really is important. So I really like the fact that, you know, you're working on both ends of the spectrum. You have your nonprofit where, you know, where you work there with the kids, but then you also have the collective that you've set up to help, you know, women, you know, of color do some of that self-care and stuff. So what are some of the goals of the collective?
Some of the goals of the collective is definitely, I always like to say the motto first: unwinding, distressing, and glowing. Just a moment to kind of get back to center. I think that's when you find yourself in a centered space, that's when you're able to think clearly. That's when you're able to move clearly and just kind of reason with yourself in the most clarifying way.
Mm-hmm.
Distressing, because at the end of every day I think there should be some form of distressing sort of ritual. And glowing, because we're always told that self-care should be very a pretty thing, but sometimes self-care can be a very ugly thing, and it can end in tears, and it can end in like a lot of hard work and a lot of pain. And I think at the end of that there's still a glow that takes place within that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the first part of the collective, for that individual unwind, distressing, and glowing. Another part is the connection aspect, to network with like-minded women all over, hopefully the world.
Mm-hmm.
Social media has made my collective go to places like overseas, and just
Cool.
people saying like, oh my God, I can't wait till I get to New York so I can do an event with you, or can you bring this event over here, I'll help you try to set something up in our town, in our city. So the connection aspect of it, and definitely innovation. I feel like self-care is amazing, but because we're going in such a technological, modern way of life,
Mm-hmm.
finding a way to incorporate innovation within mental health is something that's very important. So when I'm having an event, I try to see how can I get people to be involved digitally.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to do something like a sister circle, where it's like just a moment for us to eat something, drink something, and talk, it's like how else can I make this innovative? So it might end with everyone gets a little mini self-care book that I give at the end. Or I might have like self-care packages, maybe something monthly that they can look at. I'm even thinking for the future to do something like a digital self-care, self-love, self-care scavenger hunt. So
Uh-huh.
just really fun, innovative ways to incorporate self-care into the daily routine is the number one goal of this collective.
Yeah, that is really important to be able to integrate it daily, because people, oh yeah, I had a massage last month. Well, that was last month. What happened to
Right.
all the 30 days in between? You know,
Right,
the
exactly.
massage therapist, I think you should have a massage every day, but you know, but then again, I don't either. You know, I can't remember. I can remember the last time I had one, but not the time before that. So
Right,
we have to take care of, and especially as healers, we also have to practice what we preach.
right. Also
And
healing ourselves.
anybody, I'm sure there's many women in your collective who are caretakers, be it for their families, their parents, whoever, you have to take care of the caregiver, or the caregiver won't be able to take care of anybody else.
Absolutely.
And I always like the analogy of giving from your saucer, not your cup.
Oh,
So if you have a cup, it's like with an endowment for a nonprofit. You never spend the principal. You always spend the interest.
Right,
So that
exactly.
the principal is still there generating. So we have to fill ourselves up, fill our cup up, so that it overflows and we can actually give from the saucer.
Awesome. I love that. I think I'm going to start using that.
I'll go right ahead. I stole it from somebody else, so you can steal it from me. I don't even remember where I got it from. I've heard it in a couple different places, but we have to get that mindset of not giving. Yes, we're giving from ourselves, but not giving our core piece, because we have to keep that energy so that we can generate more energy, which we can then give away. Or more compassion, or more love, or more fill in the blank.
And I think a lot of these self-care initiatives are created in teaching people how to be selfless. But I think that kind of speaks to what you're saying, that sometimes you have to have a big part of your core in order to give. So I think when I'm thinking back to my collective, I want to teach people how to be self-full in a way. It's like not full of self where you're arrogant and you're not like focused on anybody else, but so full of self that you understand that your needs and the different things you just need in order to build self up are taken care of before you can go out and do your 9 to 5, focus on your family, give back to your children, give back to your friends, just like a self-full moment.
Right. And that's a good one. I'm going to steal that.
We're just taking things from each other. Like, well, let me get that.
Hey, if they're good nuggets, why not share?
Yeah.
I was on with the Healers Collective that I'm part of up here in Connecticut this morning, and we were talking about what we're doing, and that we kind of talk about some of that kind of stuff of filling ourselves up too before we before we can give to others. So we actually do a barter bonanza amongst ourselves twice a year. You give 4 gift certificates and you get 4 gift certificates. So you actually get to try different services, but also you get to pamper yourself. So I've pulled out 3 of the ones that I have that I'm going to start using, hopefully this week. So
I should start doing that with my friends. Like every week we put something in the pot, and then we all collectively use it. So you give something yourself, but you also give something back. That's a really cool idea. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and we do it in June and December, so it's Christmas and June.
Yeah, but, it's like
the nice thing is you can use them for gift certificates for other people. It's a general gift certificate, or you can use it as a gift certificate for yourself. And I tend to keep it as a gift certificate for myself. Yeah. So, because, it goes back to that taking care of yourself piece that we've been talking about. So do you have a website or something that I could put in the chat so that people can find you?
So the collective is being relaunched in a brand new way. I want to rebrand everything. So I'm having an event this Saturday. It's sold out, but with the event will be the relaunch. So I'm going to give you my Instagram because that relaunch of the Instagram will be on that page. The Instagram is Hey MEGOS. So HeyMegos. And that is just an Instagram full of just all my personal pictures and things like that. But I will be posting lots of things to do with Cafe and Wine starting this Saturday. And I kind of want to just promote getting those events started up again, those sister circles. I'm thinking about doing hopefully a retreat in the summer, maybe traveling with the collective. And I have something that I really, really want to start. It's in the works and I'm trying to keep it a secret. But I guess the clue I can give is that it will definitely be self-care related and it will be something to get a lot of people into New York. So hopefully this idea will take my collective far.
Fantastic. Did I get the name right here?
Yes. Hey MEGOS.
Okay. So I will post that in the comments as soon as this goes live. So that's great. Anything else that you want to make sure that everybody knows?
Um, I guess just the reminder that self-care doesn't have to be this pretty, beautiful thing. I know when people think about self-care, especially women, I want to speak to the women first. When we think about self-care, we think about getting our nails done and getting our hair done and looking pretty and being pampered and making sure you're always smiling. But a big part of self-care is to be empathetic with self when you aren't smiling, and
Mm,
to find ways to love yourself when your hair isn't done and when you don't feel your prettiest, and kind of just realizing that care is just simply holding yourself up, but also saying I see you to yourself when you're down and you are unable to hold yourself up.
mhm,
For men, we don't, unfortunately, the self-care industry that is being built doesn't gear towards men as much as they do to women. So there are times when men, especially men who are very ingrained in their masculinity, sometimes they don't see how self-care can benefit them. They see it as
mhm.
something girly or something like super feminine, and they don't understand how it can be something to uplift them. But I want men to know that in this world, men are the highest on the spectrum of suicide. And it's because, we don't create enough safe spaces for men. So I
Yeah.
want men to know that, it is okay to beautify self. It is okay to have moments to unwind. It is okay to look in the mirror and say, I'm handsome. Like, there is a very handsome fellow looking right back at me. We don't do that enough because we're told that these are like feminine things. So I guess just to always remind men that they are seen, do things to help with your mental health as well. Whether you have to just have like a self care day for you and your guys, something with sports and tea, and something to just talk about things that bother you. Whether it's like, oh, women are so annoying, let me tell you how, or like, my job is asking so much of me and I really want to be the main guy, but I just need a moment to like just cry or unwind. Have those moments for self. And people who do not fall under the spectrum of man or woman, understand that you are seen as well, and that use your moments where you have downtime to kind of focus on redeveloping self and helping self and uplifting self, and finding communities and collectives who are willing to give you that support when you're unable to do it for self. That's my message to
and
everyone watching.
and that's a phenomenal message. And you're working with some of the women on your side of the coin. I'm working with some of the men on my side of the coin, and in
Yeah.
particular, um, men who fall in the LGBT range.
Awesome.
Um, so that's my target group, because the niche, I should say, not target, but because they, as you said, men in particular are less catered to or whatever in the self-care realm. But I think it's even stronger when it comes to some of the marginalized groups.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's what where I am focusing my work on. So
Awesome.
it's there's a lot of simpatico here between what you do and what I do with different
Yeah,
groups.
yeah, absolutely.
So
And
it's
also I'm also a member of the LGBTQ community. So I realize even within my collective there are smaller collectives within my
mhm,
collective. And that's why I said there's always safe spaces, because if I'm having an event where I would like to gear it towards trans women, it's not really an event that's formulated around cis women, and I would have to create a safe space for that, maybe even a space that I can't even be a part of, you know what I'm saying?
right.
But I'm working with somebody who I can trust that can lead this event, to make it safe, to make it beneficial, and to make it resourceful. So just, I'm happy about what we're doing. I feel like we're making amazing impacts. We're like the
It
creative
sounds
doctors
like
of the
it.
world. So hopefully our future will be very bright and very uplifting.
Yeah, and I do a lot of work with Easton Mountain, which is a safe space, mostly geared towards the gay men side of it, but there's a lot of other things that happen there too. So I do a lot of work up there with different workshops and things. So
Awesome.
uh, it's great to have these spaces that we can create or partake in. And now the job is to just let everybody know they're out there.
Yeah, yeah,
And
pretty much.
So, well, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today.
you.
This was fantastic to get to know you better. I'm going to just put you in the green room for a second. I'm going to wrap up the show and then we can continue our chat.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
That was so enlightening. I'm so glad we got to do that. So next week, I'm going to be joined by a TikTok creator, network marketing professional, fellow GoPro compadre, inspiration, and friend, Daniel Fong. I really look forward to having him on the show next week. And as always, I encourage you all to go out, make a connection, and live your best lives. Thanks, guys, and have a fantastic evening.